Hey, what's up? Handy guy here again. We're going to do a little bit different of a sheetrock repair. This time we are going to repair a corner. So I'm sure everybody has seen it, probably has some in their house. I would almost bet, but definitely have seen it before. So let's get started. Talking about a 90-degree corner. Okay, let's say you got a bubble right here, or the tape is peeling away. Sometimes you can take your finger and peel it away, right? I already started this so you can kind of see my damaged corner. Okay. Doesn't matter if there's paint on the wall or not. Paint on the wall is just fine. This works the same way with paint on the wall. So what we need to repair a bubble or crack, where the tape starts peeling apart from the actual sheetrock, is we are going to need razor blade, any type of bottle that you can, squirt bottle that you can put water in, sanding sponge, drywall mud, drywall tape knife, of course, and some paper tape. I went over in my last video the importance of a drywall pan and also the consistency of your mud. Now this mud is going to be, I mixed it just a little bit thinner because when I'm putting tape on, right, you want it to where it just barely stays on that mud knife. You do not want it thick at all. All right, so it's important to have a pan, and mud consistency is even more important when you're applying the tape. Okay. Right, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's say this is our bubble, this is our inconsistency. What we're going to do is take our squirt bottle and we're going to wet this. Okay, we're going to let that water penetrate through, and while that is penetrating through, I'm going to go ahead and I tear off a piece of my corner tape, and I already pre-folded this. Notice the paper tape has, it doesn't come folded obviously, but it has a pre-folded crease in it, so it's really easy to crease. Okay, and we're going to make sure that's about the right size we want. All right, so what I'm going to do, oh, that actually stuck for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mark where I want to cut this tape out, right? Sorry, bear with me, I'm one-handed here. Okay, so I got my marks, and I'm going to go ahead and just slice that, right? We'll go ahead and put another cut this way, and then we're going to come up here to our top mark. We're going to put a cut this way, and we're going to do the same thing that way. All right, so now our paper tape, the existing paper tape that we're trying to move, has been cut. And now one more time, what we're going to do is we're going to get this nice and wet. All right, and sometimes, especially with paint, you might have to wet it 5 or 6 or 7 times, but you can see how I'm starting to get behind that tape now that it's wet. Right, once you wet it, and if it's still giving you a little trouble, get behind it and wet it a little more. Okay, we're trying to get that glue, that mud that's behind this, nice and wet, and that will just peel right off. Look at that, nice and easy. Done. All right, now I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to clean this up a little bit, because you can see, right, these little specks in there. You see that? That is going to interfere with your new mud and tape and possibly give you some more bubbles, because if you get anything hard behind this tape, right, it's going to cause bubbles or inconsistencies. So we're just going to swipe that off a few times. Now we're going to go down here to our sheetrock mud. We're going to get a decent amount of mud on there. Okay, and you can even nick the corners a little bit. So when you apply it, see, when I put this on here, the first place it's going to try to do is what? It's going to squeeze out of the top and bottom. So that's why you can nick the corners. Now, you notice I'm not holding my knife like this. I'm holding it like this to apply that mud. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slightly raise this edge, the edge to where I am pushing the mud. And I'm going to hold this one tight to the wall. And I'm just going to spread that mud. Right? And then you can take your knife like this and kind of evenly spread that mud out through that gap. More mud, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Taper our ends a little bit. I know I'm being messy. I got one hand here, so it's not the easiest. Now you see, I'm going to go up with this just because of the way, or actually I'm going to go down because of the way the mud came out. Again, sorry, one-handed. Wiping that excess off, and now I'm coming down. Now, just like my last video, and anytime you're doing sheetrock, and that's why we thin this mud out, okay? Anytime you're doing this, you want thin coats and you want to squeeze as much mud from behind that tape as you can. And the reason why is because it's not the mud part that's holding this tape in place. It's that there's actual glue in here. There's adhesive, okay? So if we don't squeeze all that mud out and get a nice thin layer, all right, what's going to happen is that our new tape is not going to fully be seated in there, and it will start to peel away. Either that or it will form bubbles. So I have my pre-folded piece, and now I'm just going to take my finger and I'm just going to kind of get that in that 90-degree angle right there. All right. So now that that's in, what I like to do is take my knife, and it's almost at a 0-degree angle, and I'm just going to push up a little bit, flatten it down and push up. And you can see that mud kind of squeezing out of there, right? All right. And now that that's started, and the reason I did that is because now I can just come straight down. All right. If I, just from the very beginning, if I try to come straight down, that tape is going to slide with my knife and it's not going to be in the right place. All right. So that's why it's important. That's why it's not important, but that's why I like to do that series first. All right. So now, same thing. I'm going to push up, and now I'm going to slide it back down. Got it? See all that mud? Now, once that's in, what I like to do, and I'll show you why. If I kind of zoom in a little bit, you can see how that tape isn't fully seated yet. All right? That means there's either too much mud behind it, or there's not enough mud behind it, and I need to transition some of this mud down to this area. So I'm going to swipe it again. Okay, I'm going to swipe this side again. And now I'm going to clean my knife, of course. And now I'm going to go the opposite direction and sweep up, just to make sure that mud is fully seated behind that tape. All right, and there's your corner. Now, once this dries, and you can see there's a little inconsistency up here, but that's from me with the spray bottle, and that's not a big deal. That'll just knock right away. All right. But now you can see how fully seated that is. Right. No bubbles. No big inconsistencies. Now, once that's dry, never, ever, ever. Other people say you can do it. I don't do it. Never recoat paper tape until it dries. It's going to cause you problems. It's not made for that. There's certain tapes that are made for recoating right away. Paper tape is not one of them. So once this dries, I'll come back and I'll put one more coat on, right? One more. And then I'll hold my knife and I'll get all that excess, and it will look just like the rest of these corners. Okay? And you can see I've gone around already and pencil marked where I've got some inconsistencies and stuff, but that's pretty much fixing the corner with paint or without paint. And once that dries, I'll put one more coat. I'll take my sanding sponge and just take out any inconsistency if there is any, and that thing is done, ready to be painted. Also, if it is a painted surface, so let's say you're doing your bedroom and the walls are painted, of course, when you go to touch up paint this one section from here to here, okay? Take the paint and mix it with 20 to 30% water. And the reason why is because if you take that paint, even if it's the exact match paint and the exact paint from the exact can, right? When you go to put it on that wall, it's going to be darker in that one area. So 10, 20, 30% water to the paint, paint it twice. You'll never even know you repaired that place. Good luck. I hope this helps, and thank you very much.